And once again, here we are coming at you. And I'm going to say it as a joke, like a breeze block of pain. This is the Jolly Roger and the Dirt Lord. Give credit to him for the camera and editing and everything. Thank you to him for that. Wouldn't be possible without him. But we're coming to you from an undisclosed location in Bruce Campbell's backyard. And this is about the people, for the people, because that's what it's all about. And I like to touch on different subjects. I'm going to talk a little bit about the food industry. Food industry, and I'm just going to give you an example of just a small town that I live in and what I've had to deal with, where I've worked and things that I've seen. I'm going to give a few examples, and I'm not going to be afraid to say the company names, because everything that I say is stories that I have lived, and they are the truth. So I'm not worried about anything that anybody has to say about it. If they want to comment me about it, or the company wants to say, hey, prove me wrong. From my experiences, that's all I'm going to give you, is from my experiences and what I've seen. You can judge the places for yourself, but this is something I'm going to do ongoing. I'm only going to do a couple tonight on this one, and later nights I might do some more. You may not be watching this at night, but that's when we record, so if I reference it at night, that's why. First, we're going to talk about, let's talk about Wendy's. Many of you have seen the commercials. You know, they do have good food most of the time, but there are horror stories in almost every place that you work. First of all, I have seen firsthand the supposed unfrozen burger patties placed into a freezer so that they would not spoil and get thrown away. That meat was cooked and served just like it was, not frozen. Point of that is, it's their advertisement. They advertise never frozen meat. That's only one of the problems that I've seen with this company. This company will not allow anybody but their managers to tempt the meat. Frankly, most of them I don't think know how to read a thermometer. That's just a personal observation. But I've seen raw chicken raw grills there. I've seen raw hamburgers, and it does happen. It is a mistake sometimes, but you might want to look out for that. Think about that when you go in there. That's just one of the little problems there. Some of the other things, like any other restaurant, people drop food on the floor and still pick it up, rinse it off. Some of them don't even do that. They wipe it off and throw it on the bun or whatever it is. You have to watch out for that. This company needs to watch their own people for that. If you ain't got the managers that can handle that, maybe you should rethink your management. I hate to say this to those young people who are very, very intelligent and very responsible. Some of you aren't. And when you hire these people who are not responsible and don't care, they're not going to run your shifts that way you want them. They're going to do things like this. Unfortunately, the frozen meat was the assistant manager of the local store here. They had no qualms about using the frozen meat. Got used in the chili, got used for burgers. It's just a matter of that they tell you it's not. And you should know the truth. Just like some other restaurants around here. Let's go to Burger King. Burger King, the Whopper is one of the most wonderful sandwiches there are. But, in my experience, once again, come across many problems. Dried up meat, letting it sit too long. They're only supposed to keep meat for a very short period of time. Of course, they do cook it a little bit ahead of time. It's on a flame broiler there. Gives it a beautiful flavor. But, how many times have you had this problem? Unripe tomatoes, core chunks of lettuce. That's just not caring what product you're throwing out there. If you can't tell with a ripe tomato when you slice it for somebody's food, you need to learn what's a ripe tomato. You don't slap a green tomato and big chunks of white lettuce on a burger. Love the enthusiasm with mayonnaise. Sometimes they do overdo the mayonnaise. But there again, that's consciously whether or not you care about your job. And if nothing else, I hope maybe managers will see this and say, hey, maybe we need to have some different people in these positions to make sure what's being done right is done right. I mean, another example that I'll give, and I won't give any names, but at the local store, there was an ant invasion. When the manager noticed it,